All right, folks, I'm going to call this meeting of the Little Calumet River Basin Development Commission to order for Wednesday, August 20th, 2025. Please set your phones on stun and let's stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Hello, Mrs. Lambert. Will you call roll, please? Present.
Tom Gazdeski.
Here.
Anthony Brodniks, absent. Dave Castellanos.
Here.
Ron Ware.
Here.
Robert Ochi.
Here.
Levon Whitaker. William Baker.
Present. We have a quorum. Moving right along. Next up is statements to the board from the floor. If you want to help us make sure things that are on that board from September 28, 2008. Come to the podium, state your name and address. No man, going once, going twice. Moving right along. Next up is the approval of minutes from July 16th, 2025. Any motions, corrections, what say you?
Mr. Chair, I'd like to make a motion to approve the minutes from July 16th, 2025.
There's a motion to approve the minutes. There a second?
Second.
And second, any discussion? Be there none. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? They're out there forever. Mrs. Lambert, are we still putting those on the website?
They are.
With everything else we've ever done, correct?
They are all on there.
Outstanding. Next up is the chairman's report. We're here for a $275 million man-made flood control project that if you don't do the maintenance and the operations as designed by the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers, things that are on that board from September 2008 kind of have an impact on the community. $1 billion. The expressway closed down for 4 days. Life's changed. Not doing what's supposed to be done. So we're far better prepared today than we were prior to 2008, but this is a community effort that involves everybody within the watershed. Without those kind of commitments, this isn't going to work. Proud of serving on this and being able to do the things that we've been able to accomplish over the years since the flood. Make sure that that doesn't happen again as we continue to move forward. We had a couple of things over the last week or so, talk about those, but those events occur more often than we want to admit. Keeping an eye on the ball is what's vital in a situation like this. That's enough. Next up is the approval of claims for August 2025. We need a motion to have that discussion, gentlemen.
Chairman, I'd like to make a motion to approve the claims for August 2025 in the amount of $495,315.83.
There's a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
And a second, Mrs. Lambert, you got that? Mr. Repay,
Yeah, we'll go over some of the claims here. We
prime
got
time.
two claims from DLZ, one for $82,575.05 and one for $29,638.14, both for the design for the Kennedy Avenue Bridge. We have a claim here, HWC Engineering for $59,475 for the Optimus Lake Boardwalk, which I sent around initial plans going around. We have Hassey Construction for their culvert cleaning work under 8094. Those are the 4 culverts that we worked with INDOT with as a part of our normal inspection. Those have to be done every 5 years. That claim is for $32,748.59. That is the final payment. And then the U.S. Geological Survey, our quarterly payment for the stream gauges for $30,025. And then we're reimbursing the Lake County Parks $40,180.96. That's part of the Little Calumet Conservation Collaborative. Other than that, if you have any particular questions.
Any questions for Mr. Repay as it relates to paying the bills? Be there none. We have a motion and a second. Mrs. Lambert.
Yes.
Tom Gazdeski.
Yes.
Dave Castellanos.
Yes.
Ron Ware.
Yes.
Robert Ochi.
Yes.
Levon Whitaker. William Baker.
Yes. Moving right along. Next up is Mr. Repay's Executive Director's Report.
Yeah, sorry, I was looking to see whether our distinguished guests are online right now. So currently they're not online. So you're just gonna be relegated to me today. So unless they show up here. Oh, they just showed up. Good. So as we've talked about, The Kennedy Avenue Bridge in the previous, we went over the new deck levels. Currently, the deck, the bottom of the bridge is 597.8. And then the new one will be just over 601. The Liverpool Trail that was also on the claim list. That's just an extension of what we already did at the Rock Riffle and Lake Station. We are looking to see if NERC has any dollars for the bike trail. We submitted that question to them. I have yet to hear back from them, although I know they're busy. I'm sure I owe some emails back to some folks. So if I get the answers, I will be sure to check in and let you guys know. First Street Pump Station, the pump one just got reinstalled this morning. So now we have both of our pumps up and running, ready to go. Channel clearing, we're waiting on a final locate here from NIPSCO on a 24-inch gas line that we hope to have them locate for us.
So hey, Dan, I have a
Yes.
question. So do you have to do that like 811?
Yes.
Every time you're doing a clearing as
Yep.
far as the debris in the next to the bridges?
Well, not, anytime you dig, you should do it. But this one is particular. We're working between Clark and Grant. So we called 811, we got the tickets for it. We have 90% of the utilities located. The one that we are missing is this 24-inch. We called into NIPSCO directly to see if they can expedite the location of this pipeline, because of course you don't want to run into that. So we are on hold until that happens.
We have one of those maps that I like on every crossing of pipelines over the years, just to have a general issue of where all of these are.
Up to date as of probably 3 or 4 years ago, but we got all the major ones. They're in our handbooks. And we also have a map actually in my office of all the penetrations that go through, whether they're sanitary, water, NIPSCO, but if all the time we get changes. AT&T may do a boring into the thing, so it's constantly
So
changing.
if there's somebody that's boring under the Little Calumet River, are
They
you
need a
notified?
408. Yeah, they need a 408.
Okay.
Then we need to make a letter to them saying we do not object to them boring, but that's only after they get certain approvals.
Thank you.
So, beyond that, we're missing the Sowerman Woods grand opening, which is at 5. I told them that we sort of had a conflict here where our meeting started at the same time. And so with that, I could either, unless you have questions, I could go over Sunday, Monday, Tuesday rain, or we could listen to our speaker and then I could come back to that. However you want, they did, right, they are here.
All right, well, are you done with your executive report?
I'm done with this part. If you want me to do my pictures and diagrams.
Okay. Well, I had one question about the culvert clearing. So that was just this summer's construction season doing that work, correct? And
Yes,
it's almost it's usually every 5 years.
every 5 years for the system,
So
right?
is this the second time or third time we've done it?
Third time.
Third time. So the assumption would be it's progressively improved as amount of debris that we've pulled out of there, or has it been consistent, just the same amount of schmutz that's in
The
there?
culverts underneath 94 will always get silt built up in them. And so it's gonna be
Always the
constant,
same.
always the same. They're 9-foot culverts. Probably the first 2 culverts working from the west to the east probably are 3/4 full. That's just what they happen to be.
And then update on the watershed study isn't until end of the year?
Watershed study, you'll have a draft beginning of October and it'll be final in November. They had a re-interview with Gary on Tuesday. And they're only missing so far, and I'll publicly shame, New Chicago and Cedar Lake. But everyone else has been interviewed. There's been some follow-up questions, but every other community has been interviewed. INDOT's been interviewed. Lake County Parks, Lake County Highway, Lake County have all been asked for their input,
Thank you.
as well as Porter County, if I didn't mention that, remember.
Anything for Dan as far as in the field? All right, have at it, man. Yes, Robert.
Go back, the draft is gonna be issued in October, final November.
Yeah, they said the beginning of October, they should have a draft, and that would be consistent with the 6-month timeline that we asked them to do for turnaround. So that way, in November, then we could really have a fresh look and then people can start submitting applications if you wish to have them do that.
Quick question, Dan.
Yeah.
Did you have a chance to look at the Forest Avenue retention area there to see how kind of capacity it was filled with at the event?
It fills at 597 and it never reached 597 at that location. That's the spillway there. And that's the interesting thing about how everything's designed. Our system at that location is built to 602 at Forest Avenue. So the spillover will be first into the parks in Munster, then over that road, and then you'll see it spill over into that detention holding area in Cal City.
Thank you.
Anybody else? All right, moving right along.
You want me to do pictures?
Pictures, if you'd like. Yeah,
I'll
absolutely.
do pictures.
Big fan.
You have to give me 1 second, so you have to filibuster for a second, just so I get down here.
All right, so the pictures are gonna be with regards to the amount of rain that we've got over the last couple of days? Or are we working on another project?
No. These are the pictures for the last couple days, just to give you some sort of understanding and synopsis of where we're at. So. This all works. I don't know if you need the lights cut or not. To see better? As I'm sharing. Here we go. So if you look at the map, that's all radar generated, and I'll have better numbers in the next slides. But you can see where the focus of the water came from, which is the red part, the yellow part. That's the red part's 9 inches, yellow is 8, purple is 7, and then like the maroon color, and I guess I could put this on my hand. Right here, that's gonna be 7, and then drops off to 6, and then as you see in the Dyer Cherville area, it's 3. Now, this is over the course of Sunday to Tuesday morning when this happened. Now, anything in gray is 2 inches or below. I mean, the lighter shades of gray is gonna be less, higher is more. And I'll go to the next page here, sort of a more zoom in. And you can see really the cutoff, I mean, is kind of like Main Street in our area as far as where the heaviest stuff. Not to say that 3 inches isn't a lot of rain in that period of time, but you can also see where Robertsdale, Whiting, and East Chicago, and why they have the trouble up at BP now with 9 inches of rain. And most of their issues came with the capacity just couldn't handle the amount of water that fell in the short period of time.
And then, compared to 2008, what did we get? 10,
That's 13
13?
in about the same amount of period. Ish. So I texted a couple of you, I think, Monday evening, when I said if the trajectory, and you probably could look at this text, but if the trajectory stays the same, we could have some problems because it was coming out of LaSalle County, which is far to the west of us. And thankfully, it sort of veered to the north at the very last second, which unfortunately didn't help the folks in Robertsdale, North Hammond, East Chicago, and Whiting, but sort of saved us because if that 9 inches fell there and you move everything else 7 miles down, because that's the difference between us and Whiting, but 7-8 miles. So you assume then everything that fell in the 5 and 6 inch variety, goes down to Crown Point. And what you'll see in the gauges as I go through them. It won't be long, but I'll try to fly through them. You'll get an understanding of the sharp cutoff and why we didn't have a prolonged event. This is from the Highland pump stations that they gave as far as volume. Let me get up some of these tabs so I can see it better. So 8:17 is Sunday, 8:18 is Monday, 8:19. Gray Street is a little bit further to the south, and that's why you see a little bit of a cutoff. But as you see, these pump stations here, Lincoln, 81st Street, North 5th. Lincoln and Johnson is if you're familiar with where the post office is in Highland, it's just to the west or east of that.
Sure.
So if you add some of these up, for instance, if you look at Lincoln or L&J, you're talking 2.8, 2.6, 4, 5, 4. So you're talking 6 and some.
Yeah, my house on 44th Street and Kennedy, basically,
Yeah.
we had 3.65 on Monday night's event, like 1.8 on Sunday's event. So 555 all day in the 2 days.
Yeah. So and then you, and I don't know, did you include Sunday or no? Did you have
So
anything?
that was Sunday was like 1.8 and 365.
But really Highland and North Dyer, North Sherrill was the cutoff of really like,
We would have been done
it would have
if
been
we
really
got
bad
9
stuff.
inches.
So
Not good.
as a part of this, we keep in communications with all of our good friends at all the sanitary districts. That came from a friend of ours at the Highland Sanitary. This is from the 3 pumps at Grant West. Those things are running, have been running constantly since. And then this is a picture of the diverter, which is supposed to divert water to the east somehow. But it didn't. This picture.
It did it.
Yeah, it did. This picture was taken at 11 o'clock at night. You can see we put these measuring devices on the side of the wall just for this reason, because it's difficult to get out. You see it's at 596. Shortly thereafter is when our friends at the MWRD decided to open the gate there at Thorn Creek, which helped that. Now this is I don't have the volume on, which would annoy you, but this is the deep tunnel project that is off of Arborgast. And you see somewhat the flow of water. It's gonna get a little dark there. I apologize. It was late at night, but I make it back around. And let me see. I guess I could show the list of the volume.
So it's going, that's what that trash rack.
Yeah, that's the trash rack on the 3. So there's 1 trash rack, there's 2 trash rack, 2 trash rack. These 2 do not have a trash rack.
Yeah.
You can see the trash that was accumulating there.
It basically keeps Katie Marsh.
Yeah. Trash goes to the opening.
I think it's an ace.
Um,
There may be twins.
The next,
Twins is good.
I mean, in 2008, it wasn't done.
so I'm gonna tell you, I'm gonna show it, if I share it.
And all areas underwater. Everything to the north. I know, I just, everything to the north, Ron. Just north of Brentwood. It's all, everything from south to maybe.
Gonna get back into sharing another screen for you guys.
Are we bringing in are you still doing ring?
I'm still doing mine because I want to show, I just want to show you for fun because I've got a captive audience right now. You see when it clears, there it goes. So when we look at these situations, I can explain to you sort of what we look at as a group. Our O&M meeting was this afternoon and we talk about this type of stuff. As far as, you know, when we need to alert people, when we don't. We have a handbook, but we also don't want to draw too much attention to the fact that we're all sitting in Northcott, because then people on social media decide they become meteorologists and then it becomes we're controlling chaos. So I had mentioned that that picture was taken at 11 o'clock.
The picture of the
The picture
diverter.
at the diverter, I'm sorry, thank you. And so 11 o'clock puts it at right about. So that signal is right here. I mean, that picture is right about there. So it's 10:45 on the chart. You can see it on the top left-hand corner. The thing is at 16:10. If I convert it down at the bottom, which you can, and by the way, for all of you that want same access to this, you can sign up for this information to be sent to you on your own telephone. Unfortunately, I am not a member of this because I have enough things going off on my phone during a rain event, but this is it. So if you look on the top left now, you saw the picture that the diverter was at 56 when I took that picture at 11. So at their gauge at Northcott, it was at 56:04. So we're in the ballpark. And at that point there is when the Thorn Creek or Thornton Reservoir is opened up, and you can see the drastic drop initially. And then you see the second wave coming. And the first wave is generally what we figure is water coming from either Schoon Ditch or Katy Marsh ditch. So the water fills up, goes through, and now it starts to rebuild itself once it has reached its level. And then you see the second sort of crest here, which is probably all the water from Dyer, Cherville that is coming. It's not as high. We usually see something higher, but because they didn't get as much water, we don't have as much pressure on the system. And now you've seen continuously for the last day or so, it's all going down. Now, normally, if I go back.
Are the gates still open?
No, the gates shut, and I'll go to that one. The reason why we have Thorn Creek is for the very reason we watch what they do. And so their magic marker is about that. I bet if we looked at it, I didn't even confirm this, but you will see when they experience a drop, which is ish. Make sure it's just shortly thereafter where they see their drop in things. So it's automatic. Thorn Creek, it goes automatically. That's the only reason why we have it. Technically, Thorn Creek doesn't even go into our system, but the diversion tunnel that goes into the quarry comes off of Thorn Creek. So what that allows for is our water from the Little Calumet River to have a freer pass down the system, and Thorn Creek gets diverted into the actual reservoir. So we look at Thorn Creek because we know at 596-ish around that area, we will get a drop from Northcott going back into Hart's Ditch. But what we won't see is something we were asked this question earlier. We'll go to Kennedy Avenue, and you will see that Kennedy Avenue does not drop as fast or at all as to when they open that quarry. So we go back and we said we saw the big drop at roughly midnight or so on Northcott. This one is just after midnight. That's the only thing that you see, that little bit of drop that is experienced in Kennedy Avenue. And then you see, once again, you see a couple minor crests that are happening just as everything's catching up. And then it finally crested for the last time, on the 19th at 7:30. So that was yesterday morning at 7:30, and now it'll take a slower pace down, whereas Northcott was a more dramatic reduction. I will show you a problem with one of the gauges that caused us a little bit of trouble trying to gauge, because what we figure is it takes about 9 hours to get from Hart's Ditch Dyer down to Northcott. That's what we've always planned on. I haven't checked this gauge today, but I'm assuming it's still going to show the same thing. But if you see, this thing had some debris stuck in it because there was nothing happening above it. Well, I'll show you the Crete one, and it will show you that Crete was going down and this one kept on rising. So there was a little bit of debris, we believe, stuck in it. We couldn't confirm it because at this point, you're talking this crested at 7 o'clock last night, which is almost impossible if it crested at 7 o'clock last night for us, with Northcott already cresting day before. And then we ultimately look backwards, and then what you'll ultimately see here, as I can get this down. If we can go, and what you'll see experiencing in Gary is this. We know that it takes estimated about 24 hours to see any impacts in Gary from the water coming in Hart's Ditch Deep Tunnel. I'm gonna go to Liverpool really quick, just to show you. Liverpool is in Lake Station off of Wyoming. Takes a little time to load. This is still just crested out probably earlier this morning if I was just to guess. Water out of Gary won't come out of Gary until probably this gauge hits below 10. And what you'll experience then is Gary will see very minimal, if any, drop. Once it crests, it'll just sit at a level. So here you'll see the better coming when it comes. You see how it goes up to its level. So this is all the water that has come from Hammond, it's come from Highland, Griffith, whatever, and it will just sit up here until which time, according to all of our studies, that that Burke has done for us that shows Deep River drives the bus on this. So until Deep River goes below 10 feet, this won't go down at all. It'll sort of waver up at this higher level, which is why we try to get the water through Deep River as soon as possible. So with that, I'll end my my small little presentation of pictures, but I just want to let you know, and to the public, you could set up your phone or whatever you want to get notified of this information. All you gotta do is sign up, shameless plug. We have all this data on a map, so you could look at it this way. Or you can, if you're just really super bored, you could go and look, if you know where you're at, whether you're Lake George, which is the dam at Lake George. On that one, we have a velocity or data as well. So if you see Lake George going down, then we're anticipating then Liverpool will be shortly thereafter start to hit the downward motion faster. So that's all I got.
All right, so at the end of the day, for the watershed on average, how much rain do we get over during this event?
Well, on average would be a bad thing because I don't think it would tell the story. On average, probably about 3 to 4 inches,
Okay.
but if you look at it with Hammond, Gary, Highland, Munster over the 3 days, you're easy over 6 inches. What I try to say, and maybe I didn't say it well enough, but if you take those 6 inches and move this system 7 miles south, now those 6 inches are no longer in Highland in North Cherville. They're in Crown Point, St. John, Cherville, which we'll end up having to deal with it longer.
Because that fills up the tributaries at Hart and Deep River, because all that water is gonna all hit the stuff that's already been falling up along the river itself.
It would be a much worse situation, so.
I agree. But based on that, let me ask you a question. We didn't talk about this, but with that modeling for doing our tabletop exercises and doing any field work, I mean, where would the first, if that moved down those 7 miles that you're talking about,
Yeah.
what's the first thing that gets closed? Is Northcott, Kennedy?
Northcott, second is Kennedy, third would be probably Calhoun and Colfax. Because it would make it, because they're not bridges, those are designed to flood. And then what you're gonna also see then over a day or so, well, you'll see Harrison underwater, because remember, there's a little dip between the bridge and North Gleason, which is designed to flood. You'll also see Georgia, which will be underwater. You'll end up seeing Georgia/Virginia there at the corner at Carver School. I mean, those are all the systematic things. The last ones would be Grant, Broadway.
So let's talk about the first three, and 2 of them are sandbags, aren't they?
Northcott is a panel structure for Munster and a sandbag for Hammond.
And then Kennedy is all sandbag.
It's sandbag / barriers, Jersey barriers with visqueen wrapped over the top.
After you guys get notice that you have to close Kennedy, how long does it take?
When did we do
Yeah.
that? We did that
I mean, we
6
did it.
years ago?
We're gonna have to do it probably again. We tested it, probably is about 2 hours to close.
Both sides?
Both sides. And it's sort of funny because Hammond and Highland have a competition as to who can do it faster, better. It's a personal thing. But 2 hours, and what we would do, I would tell you, is if Northcott closed, they would already be on the ready positioning to go. We would probably, if we saw the forecast being, hey, we're gonna get more rain, we would just go ahead of time, not to even, try to brace it.
At 598.
The bottom of the deck is 598. The action, I think, at Kennedy is 597.5. Gives us a half a foot to do. Now that just hits the bottom of the deck, but they also have the open drains on the thing, so they'll come up underneath the bridge. So it's a couple hours that takes it. Now, that's what we timed ourselves, and it was at night, and we try to put ourselves in real life conditions. But they were also prepared, so we would try to prepare as much as we could in advance. I mean, the things at Calhoun, Colfax, Harrison, there's really nothing you could do besides I guess Colfax and Calhoun you could. But Georgia Street, you just put a barricade because the levees are built to the height that they're supposed to be built. You just don't want people driving their cars into it.
All right, anything else, Dan?
No, I'm done.
All right.
I think we have our guest though.
I think that's a real statement in so much as how much rain we got and the amount of challenges that we had to deal with, which was minimal, not wood. But that's how it's supposed to be, right?
Correct.
How about that?
So. Ready for the presentation?
You bet.
All right, so I'm not sure who's gonna present, Mr. Lampy. Is that who we got here? All right, so. I think it was, he'll correct me, back in 2021, they asked to see if we would mind, and that was a part of our whole redesign of the natural spring over there off of Chase. And they asked if they could sort of investigate it further, you know, the age, the depth, the contents. And they received a grant to do such a thing. And so over the course of the last couple of years, they've been testing it and doing things that I did not study in college to do. And so this is the report that they're going to give as far as age, contents and everything else helpful and comparatively to other springs in the area and maybe nationally. So that's the best introduction I could give you. With that, I'll let him speak for himself and sort of give his presentation or his investigation is what we call it.
Yeah, do you guys hear me all right?
Yes.
Yeah, so thanks, Dan. Harvey Pollard is actually in the room there, I believe. So he's going to be presenting to you guys there in person. I couldn't make the trip, but Harvey's been putting together the project report. He took on the project a few years ago when we first got started on this. I also wanted to just mention, like, Dan, you were giving us a lot of shameless plugs there, USGS, with the data there for that, the rainfall and the stream gauge stuff. So it's kind of, we're in the room at the right time here. Harvey's actually up in the area. The reason he's able to do it in person, he's measuring water levels in groundwater wells up in the region this week. And he texted me and said, this is the reason why several of them were underwater at this point. So we've got about 60 different points that we measure quarterly in cooperation with the Indiana Department of Environmental Management and save all that data in our database and make it available online through that same portal that you were showing, Dan. So the data he's collecting this week will be available upcoming after he gets back. But I think Harvey's got some slides he's going to go through in the room there. So I'll let Harvey take it away locally there.
While we're getting this ready, I will add to Dave's comments that a lot of the stuff you guys are talking about, we are in the process of developing, or we have developed a low cost accompaniment to the stream gauges. So where these are able to send alerts a lot more quickly than the hour that it would take between events. And I can present this to you guys at a later time if you'd like. I'm also working on a low cost storm drain monitoring system that will alert you when storm drains are about to overflow. And then you can make your decisions based on that alert, whether you want to close a road to keep people from driving down it, get stuck, get hurt, stuff like that.
Yeah, I'd absolutely like to hear that. Just run that through Dan and Jodi's office to put that on the calendar. Is that technology available or are we waiting still?
The one that accompanies the stream gauge is available, and the one that goes down in the storm sewers, it's like a transducer. That is been tested, and I'm actually presenting on it next month at floodplain conference.
Well, that's on a French Lake.
Yeah.
September 10th and 11th.
Yeah, I think I'm doing it on the 10th.
Yeah, if I could just real quick, the big difference between what he's talking about and what you guys were showing, the data that gets transmitted from those sites that Dan was showing right now typically gets updated online every hour. The new technology we have is transmitted through a cell modem. And so it uses the same kind of water alerts, but those transmissions can occur, minute to minute, basically. So you get an update, you get data quicker for those sites, and those alerts can come through quicker in that regard too. So we'd be happy to tell you more information on it in the future.
Hey,
And the rivers are all up. I've been to by several of them and they're all high.
yes, they are. As
Well as the wetlands, those are high too.
long as he stays in the river.
That's it. All right, I'm gonna try to be your co-pilot here, which is scary.
We're gonna crash.
All right, so the title of the paper, determining source and quality of the groundwater from artesian well using geophysical and geochemical measurements in Northwest Indiana. This project's been going on since 2022. We're just now getting in the paper. We had some logistical issues with getting some samples from Bern, Switzerland. We actually sent those there, and one of our authors on the paper left the survey to go to another job. So getting all the hands coordinated was a little bit of a pain. This image up in the upper right is what Chase Street looked like before. It was just a big like concrete brick with a PVC pipe coming out one end and the other. This is what it looks like now. The park is redone, and this is what the well actually looks like coming out. If you guys have any questions, please feel free to ask. I have no issues stopping and answering any questions. So
Thank you.
So our objective was to measure and compare the geophysical properties of 3 groundwater wells in Northwest Indiana, to collect water quality measurements and samples from the 3 target wells, and to collect samples for H dating using a tritium and helium-3 method and comparing this to a krypton 85 method. So we did both. So here are the sites. We're up in Northwest Indiana. We sampled well B8 up at the top. CS1, that is Chase Street, that is the name that we gave that. And BR1. BR1 is a bedrock well. It goes down to
Okay.
yeah,
Oh, you got some fancy things. There you go.
All right, so BR1, that is a bedrock well. It is PVC cased. That's the elevation. The depth is 145 feet. It is screened into bedrock and screened from 135 to 145 feet. Chase Street well is still cased. The elevation is 597.2 feet. The depth of the well is 34 feet and it is unscreened. When we did a camera log, we did not see a screen in there.
Is that a screen for debris? Is that the premise of a screen versus unscreened?
Usually in a groundwater well, monitoring well, or a drinking well, there's a screen at the bottom to keep sediment from getting into it. And we heard many things about this well. It was hammered in by 2 really big guys in the 1940s, all the way down to water. They hit an underground river. The material they were going through, that probably is not accurate. It had to be actually drilled in, but there were no drilling logs found on DNR's website. So it was good that we did the geology of it. That way we understood what kind of material they were actually coming into. And B8 is a still cased well. That elevation is 599 feet. The depth of this well is 40 feet and it's screened from 31 to 36. We chose this well because it is a similar depth, and we were thinking it's a similar lithology and water source. So the geology up here is mostly glacial. Glaciers came in, they deposited a bunch of erratics, clays, sands. So here in Northwest Indiana, the last one was the Wisconsin. It lasted till the beginning of the Holocene. The Holocene began 11,700 years ago, and it still extends to today. So yeah, it didn't actually begin retreating until the Holocene. And if you Google anything about glaciers, they are extremely slow. So even when they retreat, they still retreat extremely slow. So it took thousands of years before it even got out of India. So these are the aquifers, shallow and bedrock. So this image up on the right is the aquifers of the area, B8, CS1, and BR1. So the top one, the green, that is a Calumet aquifer. The bottom one, that is a lacustrine plain aquifer system. So CS1, B8 are actually in different aquifers. BR1 is in a deep limestone, Silurian, Devonian bedrock. So all of this is quaternary in age. Up here on the left, you can see the different ages, the eons. So the Holocene is today, the Pleistocene was before that. So you're looking, quaternary is Pleistocene and the Holocene.
That demarc line is pretty much the expressway, isn't it?
It is actually, I think that line between the aquifers
Yeah.
follows the Little Calumet River.
Ah,
Okay.
wow, tie that all together. How about that, Repay?
That's why I brought it. I didn't know he was showing up in person. It scared me.
Yeah, well, it worked out that way. It wasn't originally worked out that way, but it.
I wasn't even looking that way. All of a sudden he appears.
Yeah, you got like a wave of ball guys coming after.
Yeah.
Every other.
Troubles.
Go ahead. So we did a gamma log of the well. We couldn't do a EM that would show like electromagnetic log that would show really the clays and the sands because the casing is metal. With the metal casing, really all we had that we could do is gamma. So we had a gamma log for V8, which is in the middle. CS1 is on the left. And BR1 is on the right, and I cut that off at 45 feet because that's really all that's gonna matter for us. So you may notice some similarities between them. CS1 starts out, so anything left of that line is sand. Anything right of that line is clay. Okay. So you can see that they're all starting out in sand until you get to about 4 feet. And then you got a transition in Chase Street to more clay. B8 stays the same and BR1, it stays sand, right? So if you look at Chase Street, which is this new one, go ahead. Oh, go back.
Oh,
It
boy.
didn't pop up.
Now you're gonna really cause me some difficulties.
Just go back.
Previous.
I got it. I got it.
All right.
Technology got it.
Sorry about that. So Chase Street that's here on the left. It is intermittent sands and clays. It gets really close to sand. You can see the green down here. Those are where it pops into sand. Whereas B8 is straight sand. And BR1 will go into clays and sands as well, eventually stain clay. So if this could be a reason for Chase Street's artesian style. And we'll get more into that here in a minute. But what I want you to take away from this is that intermittent clay and sands, right? So our observations, B8 constructed completely in sand. CS1's intermittent sand and clay. First 50 feet of BR1 compared to shows intermittent sands and clays as well. Keep in mind, B8 and CS1 are both stick-up casings. And what that means is the casing for the well is above ground about 2 feet. So about 2 feet tall, that's the casing. BR1 is a flush mount setup. So that is actually below land surface when we measure that one. So that's why you see that difference in the loft where they started at the top. So all three sites show sand at the very top. From 6 to 8 foot, CS1 transitions to clay. And after the depth, B8 stays sand while BR1 becomes clay and CS1 is predominantly intermittent sands and clays. While the construction was going on, we were luckily able to be there when they were kind of digging out with the backhoe and the excavator. And this clay was like modeling clay. I believe Dave kept a sample and left it on his bookshelf for a while, and it just became hard as rock. So this clay is almost impenetrable. It's a serious glacial till clay.
So I have a question.
Yes, sir.
The one well that is at grade, nobody can harvest water from that, or is it?
So none of these are, with the exception of Chase Street, used for
Drinking.
Yeah, used for drinking. These are all monitoring. So I was actually at B8 today. It was dry around there, luckily. But yeah, I was there today. Yeah, none of these are used for drinking. So this is a recharge of the area. So the recharge is slightly different between the wells. BR1 has the highest recharge rate, while CS1 kind of has the lowest. And that goes into probably location, right? You got a lot of runoff, you got a lot of infrastructure built up, so that's going to impede your recharge. And this will become more apparent as we get into the issue. So this is a potentiometric surface map. If I didn't say that right, I'm sure I'll hear about it Friday. So what I did was we took a lot of the wells that I go and visit, and we look at the depth to water. And then we label that and we make contours off of it. So then we can see how groundwater is flowing. And the solid lines are lines that we have data for. The dotted lines and the dashed lines, those are inferred because we don't have any data. We can't say that's the way it's going, but this is the way it should go. So if you look at the contour and these arrows kind of show you which way the groundwater is moving, a lot of it moves towards Lake Michigan and the streams, the Calumet and the Low Calumet River, right? So if you look at CS1, you got a lot of pressure head coming down and from each side, right? So that's a higher elevation at 603 than where CS1 is. And down here where it's inferred, you're still looking at 603, 609, going down to 600. So you're getting a lot of pressure coming down on that, which brings up the, pushes the water up, plus you have that intermittent sand and clay that's helping push that up. And that's, could be why you're getting that artesian artesian style flow.
Right.
So going into water quality, we took lake samples for quality assurance, quality control to confirm that our equipment was not introducing anything trace elements that we collect in the field. The pump bottles were set up in an identical manner as to the environment samples that were collected, except for pre-approved blank water that was pulled through the system and then put in the bottles and sent on. So water quality analyte sampled. Some stuff that didn't come through on what I did earlier today, like 2 hours ago. This is just give you an idea of the analytes that we actually tested for. So we have all these analytes. And for this slide, these circled ones are the ones that we got hits for. So that's sulfate, aluminum, arsenic, barium, iron, and manganese. Go ahead. Here are the rest of the analytes. So we collected for PFAS as well. There were no hits on CS1 for PFAS. So that water is non-detectable for that.
Mm-hmm.
And here are the rest. So we had a large array of tests that we ran on Chase Street's water. So these are blank analysis. The only one that popped up was manganese with a concentration of 0.54 microliters. So I want to delve into each one of these hits, kind of give you an idea of what it is. So arsenic is shown above the MCL. The MCL is the maximum contaminant level for drinking water established by the EPA. So the MCL for drinking water is 10 micrograms per liter. You guys are showing in CS1 point or 200th over that. So, and that could be attributed to many things. We can't guess what those are, but
they good or bad?
Over 20. Is that October of 1922?
what's that?
October 1922 or 2022?
Yeah, I believe that's when they
You haven't taken anything since then?
What's that?
There's no testing been done since then.
Wow. So this was back in 22. Yeah, cool. Iron and sulfate. So the sulfate was high, but it wasn't like so it fell under the contaminant level. For iron, it is over the maximum contaminant level of 300 micrograms per liter. You're looking at about 1,000. These were done in 2023. And this is evident. You can actually see this at the well. When it's flowing out, you see all that orange that was around. That's the iron that's in, and some of the manganese as well. Right.
Why the different dates?
So again,
Well, some of the testing was different timeline.
so I'm just showing you when the detects were. Does that make sense? So getting back to the 2022, we had other tests and I don't think any of those were detected. So we sampled in 2022 and 2023.
So in 2023, there was no arsenic detected?
Not that I'm aware.
None now, right?
Not that I'm aware.
Good.
And so arsenic can be introduced into groundwater several different ways. It can be there naturally. Metallic type sediments can introduce arsenic into the groundwater. A lot of it comes from anthropogenic sources, us. So I would like to get you a better answer on that, and I will. I just have to look at the paper again. So manganese, you can see the bottom graph. It is higher than the maximum contaminant level of 50. And that's partially, you can see that in that iron staining as well. That's part of that. And the aluminum, it's high as well. Well, I think I bet. Aluminum is not. And if you can see BH, BR1, CS1, there's nothing in CS1. So you're good with aluminum, it's just the which can be accounted for with iron. Secondary drinking water analytes, we sampled these 5. We only got hits on aluminum and the manganese, which makes sense. This is just the secondary drinking water for EPA standard. So aluminum is above the limit, BR1, and below detection limits, CS1. And manganese is above the limit in CS1. And if you, who's drank the water?
Well, how often are you, I mean, do these fluctuate? I mean, I'm looking at 3-year-old data. So, I mean, I don't know how many more, chemicals we're gonna look at. I mean, at the end of the day, that's old data. And 2, with the old data, is that any concern as it pertains to people going out there and drinking the damn water?
So I can only give you the data.
So.
What you do with it.
So who does that for these type of wells? I mean, I'm not a well expert, so if somebody's utilizing that in that particular situation,
IDEM, we go by the guidelines of IDEM through an open source water, which requires.
So IDEM is interpreting this data and manganese and aluminum.
Not this data, they totally pass on coliform and nitrates.
Okay,
So if we pass coliform and nitrates, which we test nitrates yearly and coliform every month, then that's acceptable to IDEM standards for an open source water.
okay. So
This is just deep dive.
I'm really in the weeds and I don't want to be in the weeds anymore. So I'm trying to get to the point of what we're looking at as it relates to this old data to where we are today in 2025.
So we're going with this, the reason for this is for you to make possible a determination if the water is safe to drink.
Copy that.
If it's not safe to drink, or if it is safe to drink, it's just, these constituents are above this
Who
drinking
did
water.
the testing in 2022 to be able to get all this data? Is that USGS? USGS?
That's you, that's him, that's
Right.
what he is.
Yeah.
But I'm just asking, why are you showing me 3-year-old data?
Because it takes that long to put the report together.
Are you kidding?
Yes,
3 years.
we're still not done.
From 2022? Okay, sorry, thank you.
Stale.
Getting
I
back
just
to-
said, let me, the PFAS results themselves took 9 months to get back from the lab.
Okay, can I ask a question? When was it well
Test
completed?
water, 9 months.
The renovation of the well, when was that completed?
Renovation was,
Well, you guys dug it, so 21, 22, it was about the same.
well, it was 22, 23, because we were. in the
When was
middle
it
of the same-
completed?
Your blood, give me that exam.
I'll look on here.
Yeah, what?
Project Tracker. We have a report for that.
Yeah.
Why does it take that long to?
Our peer review, our data is unquestioned. It really is. And that is because of our peer review, our process to make sure our data is correct. And to make sure our data is
2 years after.
to the top level.
2 years after.
That we go through a lot of steps just to get this data out.
Okay.
And all of this, if you look at that bottom, is still preliminary information.
3 years
Because
old.
We haven't actually got the paper out for publication.
You guys just haven't approved internally, right?
Well, I'll get, there's a site for that.
Got it, sorry.
Grand opening.
Okay, how we doing on the slides? We halfway yet?
Yeah, we're about done.
You see what I get to deal with on a monthly basis, right?
Oh, this is fine.
Oh, yeah, you're getting off easy. Just
So
failed that.
PFAS, I'm not gonna go into this slide a lot. We didn't detect any PFAS in the system. So we did a dissolved gas analysis. Concentrations, dissolved nitrogen, argon, oxygen, carbon dioxide, and methane. These can tell us about the explosive limits, especially with methane. They can also tell us about the source of the groundwater. So groundwater age data. So ages using a tritium and Krypton 85, you can look at the graph here. And you can see that older ages go to the right. So the bottom is the date in years. Quick time. So geophysical logs show all three wells have similar lithology, however, CS1 has studies about the subsurface, which could contribute to the artesian flow of the well. Water quality results show that sulfate, aluminum, arsenic, barium, iron, and manganese have reportable limits in the groundwater. And for age dating, B8 had the youngest groundwater with an age range of 27 to 31 years. CS1 had the next oldest groundwater at 35 to 42 years. And being a bedrock well, BR1 had the oldest 1100 to 2300 years. CS1 and B8 are more influenced by infiltration of surface water than the waters of the deeper BR1 well, which I got to before. And that's where that recharge comes in. So recharge at CS1 was higher at B8, or B8 was higher than at CS1, which can contribute to the shorter age groundwater. So where we're at, the report is out of the peer review process. So we had 2 peer reviews, an in-house and an out-of-house. That is done. We are now we have to address those comments, consolidate them, and send them back to the reviewers. And then it goes to editorial after the supervisor approves it. And then it has to go through approval by the Bureau or by the USGS. And then our estimated release is early next year.
6 years old.
And we would like to thank the Little Calumet River Basin Development Commission for allowing us to come out and sample this well and do these tests.
Thank you, sir. Do you have any questions for this young man on the
I do.
well?
I do.
Go ahead.
Couple of questions. One, is it safe to drink?
He's not gonna tell you that.
He's not gonna say that.
He does test.
In your opinion?
I can't give you my opinion. All I can give you is the data, and then you guys make the determination on if it's safe to drink.
Because there was recently, the Department of Natural Resources in Gary had 3 weeks ago, 4 weeks ago, had a meeting along with another group about the well, and they're promoting it, that it was a artesian well, and that safe to drink, and the place is fully packed. A lot of people got it. That's the reason why they actually, are you familiar with that meeting that they had?
I'm not familiar. Dave, are you familiar with that?
At the Gary, it was at the Gary Natural Center over on, in Miller. They had that meeting. That's okay, because I'm.
I mean, I know people have drank this for years, generations.
I drink it. I'm a drinker. I get the water. I have no problem with it whatsoever. And I know a lot of people else that don't get the water. And as a matter of fact, the former mayor was out there with his mother getting water because they've been getting it. So just to give you an example. But you have a lot of information right here. And I tell you what, and I need to hear more. And I like to set you up with a organization so they can hear what you have to say. This is too important.
Absolutely, and we are more than happy to talk afterwards, or you wanna reach out to me, that's fine too, and, you know.
The only problem I have is that arsenic that's in it. That threw me off. But all the other, from what we understand, the testing that we've been getting has been magnesium, zinc, and a few other things in it, and people love it. So,
I mean,
thank you.
Question, Mr. Chair.
Yes, sir.
A great presentation, by the way. Very informative. When you look at this particular CS1 well and compare it to another study, whether in the Midwest or similar region, is there any type of projection, past, present, that says based on these values that this will extrapolate or has extrapolated over the years and the arsenic level or the manganese level has actually gone up? And is it something therefore that we need to be
that's a really
concerned
great
about?
question. I do not know of a study like that, and we would have to come back a few years later for this one and test again to see if there was like an extrapolation or if it grew over time or not. But yeah, that's a really good question. I'd like to kind of.
Yeah, if you got something in the library or something in the, in archives that can kind of give some better forecast, so to speak, as to where this could go X number of years, since you kind of are saying that the CS1 has been 36 to 42 years, I think it said. But that would give us a little bit more. I mean, I remember going here when I was a child, getting bottles of water. And so, that was, not less than 40 years ago, a little over 40 years ago still, and family members. So, it is of concern, but we would certainly want to know, if you have something comparatively speaking.
Yeah, and I will definitely like to do like a dive research wise, and if I find anything, I can definitely send it to you. Yeah.
Oh, I will say, like, some of those, the other wells that Harvey sampled, B8 in particular, those were all, we've got the wells that Harvey's up there monitoring this week, checking water levels. Those were all put in back in the 90s for a regional study to kind of get an idea. That was all funded through IDEM to get a regional study of the water quality across Lake and Porter counties. So a lot of those wells still exist. And when they were installed, there was water quality samples taken from those wells, including B8. I think arsenic was included in that. I'd have to go back and look, but Harvey and I can share that publication back from the 90s on that data. And, we can make sure in the report that we include a comparison as to what we got this time with that pre-existing data as well.
This atypical of a well you would see on a residence for drinking water or potable water?
I haven't seen data on a lot of residential potable wells. It's not something that we really go into with water quality a lot. I can't think of one, Dave, can you?
No, and a lot of the analytes that we sampled for these for this study just aren't typically sampled for domestic wells unless they're not required for transfer, ownership transfer, or for the state. I think Dan said earlier that you guys were sampling the flowing well for E. coli and some other things like that. That's more typical of what is sampled for domestic wells. Like the age dates that we did and these other PFAS and analytes like that those just aren't typically sampled in domestic wells.
And you're sampling these wells, basically testing the groundwater.
We are testing the groundwater, yes.
Anything else?
Yeah, I have a question.
Yes, sir.
So the elements that you test for and found present, how easy is it to do that on a quarterly basis or monthly basis? How long does it take for results? Is it costly, not costly?
That is a outstanding question. Dave, I'm gonna put that on you because I'm familiar with prices for groundwater sampling or groundwater monitoring, but sampling is out of my realm.
Yeah, I'd have to go back and look for the cost of all the analytes that we sampled here. I mean, we did a lot of samples for this. I'll say the PFAS sample alone was $550, I think, just to get that processed for one sample.
Can they tailor that to analytes that they're more concerned with than others?
Well, I mean, and so let's say if you were interested in nutrients, nitrate, something like that, those samples are relatively cheaper. They're like $20 to process. So it really depends on what analytes you're interested in looking at. If arsenic is a concern, you could tailor it toward just doing a suite of analysis that included like metals and arsenic and that sort of thing. And that cost would be different than what we spent on the group of chemicals that we sampled for this well. The real reason that we sampled for so many different things in this study was to, one, see what was in the water because it was being used for other purposes. But two, we also wanted to sample these other wells for the same thing and see if we got a hit for one thing in this well and it was super deep well, we can look and see, well, if the Chase Street Spring well also got that or didn't get that. We're trying to compare the results of all these different analytes to see what the source water for the spring is in comparison to these other wells that are completed in different areas and different depths. So that's really, the big reason why we did such a wide range of things within this study. And, if something were of interest to keep doing, quarterly samples isn't that bad because we already go up there and do quarterly sample or quarterly water levels in the area. It would just be a matter of bringing a pump along. We would have to install, put the pump down, pull the sample, process it, and send it off to the lab and get those results. And I will say during this study, waiting to get results, it was during COVID. We were having a lot of issues with the lab and turnaround times just because of the staffing at the lab. So that's kind of one of the reasons why this has taken so long to get published. The lag time in getting results was a lot due to staffing and COVID related things. So a lot of these analytes we can get turned around a lot quicker than what we did for this study.
What would you say it would be now?
It really depends on the analyte itself. If you're talking something like arsenic or something like that, I'd say we could get the results back in a month. But I'd have to really look into it a little bit. I'd have to look and see what the wait time is right now for our labs.
A question, maybe you mentioned it before in your report, for the data that was collected, what was the depths or what were the depths of these 3 wells that were taken? The samples,
So BR1, the deep one was 137.
that's where the water sample was
47,
taken?
I think that's in bedrock. That's in like a slurry Devonian shell or limestone.
How about CS?
CS1 is 37, I believe.
So that's where it was taken at the bottom of the well.
That's the bottom. We put a tape, electric tape down to get the depth and it won't go any further than that.
You take a
And-
sample from that,
Uh,
and you take the sample from the bottom of the well that's not screened.
we take samples from,
No,
so
for CS1 specifically,
for CS1,
yes.
we did it like all the other ones. Well, what we'll do is we'll put it all the way down to the bottom. Lift it up about a foot, so it's like in that screened area. And then that's where we pump from. If we would have done we did the CS1 the same way.
Bottom of the well.
Even though it's not screened, we still pumped it out the same.
I have a question. I'm one of the remote participants today. I put a question in the chat, but I don't know if anyone's seen it. Can you hear me?
Yeah, hold on a second.
Okay.
So does anybody else on the board have any other questions for this young man?
Question about sampling, put a chill down my spine because I don't know.
Is there a chat room question thing, Jodi? Because I haven't opened it up for a discussion with the public for this presentation, so maybe if you read it.
Thank you.
It says, are the results for the IDEM water testing, online and available for the public? They are on the IDEM website. And then the second question was, how expensive would it be to test for more, chemicals, more often, which we just discussed. We were gonna do that.
So can I ask where on the IDM
Back and
website?
forth, ma'am. So IDEM for your first question as it relates to where that information is. And yes, we are testing. We test, what is it, Dan, monthly? And then the USGS, who's currently making this presentation, is just testing groundwater.
So we test coliform every month.
Every month. So
Submit a report to IDEM. And then
Okay, is there a URL or something? How can I find that IDM report?
yes, there is on IDEM's website. It's under groundwater. We have I guess a little place for us and it has historical data.
Okay, you can't share that in the chat or anything like that because
If you know me technology wise, probably gonna take a while. So
You can find the URL if you wanna contact the office tomorrow. Try to
yeah,
get
call
it.
our office and Jodi will do it.
Thanks. Okay, thank you.
any other questions for this young man? Yes, sir.
Does the USGS have a website that we could go to and look at all the wells that have been tested in our area and the
Absolutely.
results? For all of Indiana or for all of
Yeah,
Lake County?
we have it for all Indiana, Ohio, and Kentucky, actually all over the country.
Thank you.
I'll get that to you.
Any other questions? All right, thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, next up is any other issues, new business? Either none, the next meeting date is for Wednesday, September 17th, 2025. Please check the website for location. Assume it's gonna be here. It'll be on the website if it isn't. And I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So move.
Second? Is there a second? And a second, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you very much for helping us do what we do.
Thank you.